All right, we took two trades on the NQ today. Two trades on the NQ today. Solid day. Finally got the prop firm evaluation account back into the green after a pretty rocky start over the last week and building out of that. But very, very happy with how things going on. Also, back-to-back green days for me. I got my green shirt on. Everything is green. Everything's wonderful. I would like to dive into it. And I'm not just showing you these things. I want to, tell you what I'm learning and kind of speak out loud sometimes. It's almost a journal. But also, I want to just be fully transparent. Like, even though I was green on both of my trades today, one of them I shouldn't have been. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, I guess. And that was really the first trade of the day. And let's dive right in. Let's look at exactly what happened in the trade, what I was thinking, my mindset. And then please, I would love any of your feedback down in the description, but down in the comments below. Like, let's keep this conversation going. I'm really going to try and post my recaps every single day if I can get home from work and get them in. So you guys know I've been trading prop firms for a while, and I will just first say that I never knew the power of having a good journal and really journaling trades. When you see people talk about trading, they always mention journaling, and you're always like, all right. This has been some of the best money that I've spent. It's kind of like how you have to pay for level 2, or you got to pay for TradingView, or you got to pay. There is a pay to play in this game, and I think having a good online journal like TradeZilla, it really has helped. The first thing I'm going to say, we see that I got $291.90 on this one contract. Very, very quick contract. I got in at 9:41 and 29 seconds, and I was out in pretty much 30 seconds time. You can see I gave myself 2 stars on this one because, like I said, it was better to be lucky than good. I'll show you my notes, and then we'll go up to the chart and see exactly what happened here. First thing, this was a bad entry, and I let previous trades of the past few days force this entry. There's been a couple times where I've set my limit price, and it's kind of come up and missed it by a tick or two, and then did exactly what I wanted it to do. And I'm like, I'm being too conservative with my entries. I'm being too conservative. So today I'm like, I just can't start the day missing another trade. Like, there's not going to be more trade opportunities in the near future. So I got into this trade a little bit too early, and in hindsight, I can see how early it was. And when the real trade presented itself, just literally a few minutes later, I should not have been longing into resistance, which is what I did. And I'll talk about support resistance. Maybe I'll even make a video of how I tag up my charts. I'll show you all my charts and all of those other things. So it's very, very clear. But I shouldn't. I pretty much longed into resistance. I guess I was seeing that first initial push to the upside, and whether it was not a fake out or not. I saw a volume drop off, a doji at the bottom, which made me think a bounce. I wanted to go in if it hit if there was a reaction when it hit 397, which triggered the entry. Real problem is I didn't have a defined stop. This is also something that we'll see in my second trade. I like to enter even taking like not a great as trade entry, but if I have a nice defined stop with a nice tight stop, I like to take those risks from time to time. Now in hindsight, I didn't really. I had a stop loss, but that stop loss really didn't invalidate the trade in any way, which is something that I'm also trying to learn. In all actuality, it should have been the high of day, okay, which would have been a ton of drawdown. Frankly, I'm lucky that I moved my stop to break even so quickly, and then I was able to get out when I could. All of this data, and like I said, it's synced right to my TradeEvade account, and TradeZilla pulls in all of this information for me, which really is. I've been with journals where I had to upload my own stuff, and it was brutal. Okay, so here's 9:30. You can see this opening candle of the day. And overnight, we pushed right towards the end of the night. And maybe I will just show you on my TradeEvade chart, not on my TradeEvade chart, on my TradingView chart, what I was actually looking at. So all of my main support and resistances are drawn pretty much at the beginning of the day, or at least for the open. This, we can see a 1 hour resistance and a 1 hour support. This support was actually a little bit higher. If we go, I'll go back to the 1 hour and show you just exactly where that was to open. So this 1 hour resistance, or pretty much key level of interest for me, started way back on Monday the 2nd. We can see we had a touch here. We came through, retested it, flushed all the way back down to the 200 SMA, came back up. So we had support right at the end of the day. And then we see overnight, it came down and it wicked down here. So I ended up moving my zone right down to here just to start the day. And that's kind of what I had my chart set up on to start the day. Now I can go back down to the minute and show you exactly what I was thinking. So I mentioned the fake out. We had that opening push through this 1 hour resistance, and then it flushed right back down. And I was thinking, okay, maybe is this some sort of fake out? What are we doing here? What's going on? And we kind of flushed down. I'm like, all right, I got biased, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a bad, this is going to be a down morning. We are going to retrace this whole move late in the morning. And I was kind of like looking here at the flush, the high volume, and then the volume to the downside kind of slowed. And that's what kind of got me thinking. Now I wrote this yellow arrow here because, guys, this was the real trade. This was a break and a retest and a full downside move. That should have been the move that I was really looking for, but I definitely screwed that up. So what we were seeing here is I saw it kind of fizzle out a little bit, but like I said, I see now in hindsight, I don't really know what I was thinking. Maybe I just really wanted to trade because we could see there's a green volume. So we had that push up. We see here all this green volume. I mean, frankly, this probably should have been a long opportunity, and I just got to guessing. I thought to myself, okay, I saw this candle here, and I'm like, all right, maybe we're going to push, and that's why I have these blue lines drawn here. I was watching this little bit of resistance that we flushed through, and I'm like, maybe that'll act as resistance again, and then I could come down and target this little swing low here. I think that was the initial thesis that I had, but then as soon as I entered the trade, I was like, this is dumb. I thought to myself, did I really just short into all of this green volume after this big push to open? Like, is this the fake out? And now we're going to push through that resistance. So I immediately got out of the trade. Guys, this is a bad trade. I shouldn't have been in this trade. I got lucky. The real trade would have been to wait for this break, this retest, and then take some shorts. And we could have targeted really anything. We could have taken targets here out of this zone, which would have happened in the first candle. We could have targeted here. There's a ton of places. Just would have been a much better trade if I was just being, frankly, just a little bit more patient. The next trade, I'm a lot happier with. Okay, I got $331 here on this trade. I gave it a 3.5. I had a much better risk to reward. I had a more defined stop. All right, I was way happier with this. If I just scroll down to the notes quick, I was playing off 1 hour support that established itself in the first of the month and had a nice sell off to the downside. After we slowed the bottom of the range, buyers picked up steam. Being green on the day, I was also a little bit more confident to take a trade. Probably not the best mindset, but I am human. Meaning that first trade, I had a little bit green, so I was like, I still have a little bit of leeway in which I could take a little bit of a losing trade, a nice tight stop, and still be green on the day. This gets the account green back for back-to-back green days. So I was happy. I was like, I'm getting out of here. That's one thing I tend to overdo. Is when I have a really good day, I just want more and more. So closing my computer early in the day, I was out of this trade by 10:17, and then I was done. I love a spot where I can get a nice tight stop. After having the first wick bounce, I knew that I had stopped and a target, and I looked for a 10-point scalp. Took 45 seconds. Bracket orders worked perfectly. So here's exactly what happened. Let's see where this blue line represents. Targeting the overnight swing low. That was my target on this bounce. So I knew that that was kind of going to be, that's where I put my target price. And I actually got some slippage to the upside on that. We have a pull down into this support. Now, if we get that bounce that I'm expecting that we've seen a couple times happen already, we saw it happen here. Let's say this is the 1 minute chart, but lots of touches in here. I'm like, okay, we can get a play on that. And if I'm wrong, I can set my stop right here at 142 and get myself out in a pretty good scenario, or I can get the push back up. I figured if I'm either going to get to that target or it'll blast through and I'll get a little bit more. And that's exactly what happened. Now, it turned out to be a fake out, which is why base hits are great and just taking small scalps. If I was trying to get this huge move, which would have been from 155, that would have been a 40-point move. That I'm just not taking 40-point trades. That's just not what I'm doing right now. So I knew that I had a nice tight stop. I'm going to take some off the table, and then it pretty much continued to the downside, which was great. And then we will look to break and retest, which never really happened, but I closed my computer after this trade. But really, really very, very happy with how this trade worked out. We can see in the replay, here's that bounce. And see, I saw that bounce with a ton of green volume, and I'm like, okay, this could be a spot where we bounce out of that support. Came back down, touch it one more time. I knew I had a tight stop and we were good to go. And then it just continued to do what it was going to do. Coming back to the homepage of TradeZell, like I said, it gives you everything. We can see back-to-back green days. I got chopped up that first day. I just got excited. I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm trading again. This is going to be outstanding. New account. And then slowly just been trying to figure it out. This red day was, I didn't overtrade this day. I had good trades, good entries, and I had some tight stops get filled. Like this is, I can lose $394 on the day. Trade sales score is still telling me I suck at trading, 27.8, but it's still going up. I'm a green on the account, $109. I got to get that up to 3,000. I'm going to watch all these stats. I'm glad that I have this so I can just see all this. I can see all my trackers. We can see the day view where they break everything down by each day. It's just really a really good tool. And also too, I love seeing this as well because sometimes I forget on a little bit longer trades. If you can click on the running P&L and it kind of tells you your drawdown and where you actually got out, which is another really, really nice little tool that TradeZilla gives you. But tomorrow's another day. We're going to work on trying to keep the streak alive. We could see that I went from 15 trades. I win when I take less trades. It's because I tend to get out of there. Where when I start with a losing trade, I tend to stay in longer. But if you have any questions or feel free to criticize down in the comments below. And we'll check you tomorrow with hopefully another green day. Let's go.